Ladies and gentlemen, bring out Ellen Latham. Give her a hand.
Who knows OrangeTheory? Who knows OrangeTheory? Who knows OrangeTheory?
Give it up for her. No, you didn't hear me. It's Ellen, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa! Yes! Ellen, come on. So great to have you here.
Oh, wonderful to be here.
You've been doing this 40 years, so you started when you were 2.
Oh, wow.
Tell us, you took an industry that's cluttered, where people have done a million different types of workouts. And I know my trainer, Billy Beck, remembers when you were working at the same facility he was before you'd started. 8 years, you're doing, what, $1 billion in revenue. You're changing people's lives. How the hell do you go from working for somebody else to building an entire new segment of the industry?
Yeah, well, interesting story. There's a sports psychologist theory called momentum shifting.
Yes.
And momentum shifting is focusing on what you have instead of obsessing over what you don't have. My father was a phys ed teacher and football coach at my local high school in Niagara Falls, New York.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, my father has since passed. Today is his birthday. I am celebrating.
You gotta be very proud.
So excited. He lived his life very much in momentum shifting up, focusing on what you had. At 43 years of age, I'm 62 now. When I was 43.
She's 62. Can you believe this? No, give it up for her. This is unbelievable. You're awesome. But I want people to know, you started this during a really tough time in your life, right?
Exactly. And I had my dream job, I would call it. And my boss called me into his office and told me they had to let me go that day. And I was a single parent of a 9-year-old son. And quite frankly, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was in a panic. But this momentum shift up theory of focusing and building on what you had. At that time, I had a Pilates certification. I was a great Group X instructor. So I went down to my Gold's Gym and I talked the owner into buying some bikes. And this was before spinning was in every gym there was. And I said, we'll split it 50-50. Okay. And then I started soliciting those spinning clients to come and take Pilates with me. And I used a spare room out of my house to start doing one-on-one Pilates.
Wow.
And I kept building until pretty soon I had 2 women. And some days from 6 a.m. in the morning to 9 p.m. at night, I had 2 women pulling in my driveway, 2 women pulling out of my driveway in their exercise outfits. I always joke, I have no idea what the neighbors thought, what kind of business I had going on in there. And I kept momentum shifting up. And I borrowed a little money to open up an 1,100 square foot Pilates studio. And the next phase of that was adding on a room that was the foundation of the OrangeTheory Fitness workout.
And tell us, what was the breakthrough? What was the point you had the breakthrough in actually developing OrangeTheory? What allowed you to separate out from so many different other types of approaches that are out here?
Well, I had been teaching group fitness for over 40 years, and I knew a reason why people didn't stay with working out is because they didn't feel successful. They didn't feel like they got results. And so they didn't, stay with it. They didn't want to keep slogging through weeks of working out and maybe it'll work. So I came up with a science-backed workout. So I have a master's degree in exercise physiology. So I based the workout on the science of EPOC, which is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. A big word. All it means is you create an oxygen deficit in your body, and your body has to repay it 24 hours after. It's like money in the bank. You create a deficit in your bank account. You have to go work harder to replace those funds in the account.
So you're burning calories
So you're
after the
burning
workout.
calories at a higher rate for 24 hours after. So I based it on that science. I didn't create the science. It was created way back in 1940s when they realized this was a great way to do interval training with athletes in the Olympics. I just took that science, and then what's very important is measurement. I've been taking the last 5 days with you. Wow, Tony. Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, right?
She's been here with you attending.
Group number 4, I'm with you guys. So the importance of measurement just in like in business,
Yes.
was very important in exercise. So we have technology where in real time you could measure how your heart is performing. So you don't underexert and you don't overexert. And the goal is to get your heart rate over 84%. That's when I'm creating that oxygen deficit for only 12 minutes by the end of the hour. You don't do all the 12 minutes in one bout of 12 minutes in bite-sized sections, 60 seconds here, 90 seconds there. And all you have to do is get that 12 minutes at the end, and I could produce about a 20% additional afterburn in your body. It's working for a lot of people.
Wow. Tell us, how did you originally fund the business? I mean, you were starting out with nothing. How did you get the funding going? And at what point did you decide to go with franchising? And were you concerned about that? Because some of the largest franchises have the most lawsuits, unfortunately, as well.
Yeah.
Tell us your thoughts.
So I had my small little studio at Pilates in this workout that I created. One of my members, April Kern, comes into me one day and says, listen, Ellen, I think you should talk to my husband. He does franchising, and I think that one of these should be on every corner. People love this workout. They can't get into class. They're talking about the results. So eventually I did speak to her husband. So he had worked in the franchising world before with the Massage Envy franchising.
Okay, got it.
So him and his partner met with me, and we just kind of said, let's see what we got here. It's so funny sitting in the last 5 days with you when you talked about the artist, you talked about the leader, and you talked about the entrepreneur. I didn't even think about this because I didn't know names for them, but that's exactly what the three of us are. I am the artist, and then the CEO of our company, Dave Long, is the leader, and Jerome Kern is definitely the entrepreneur. So interestingly enough,
that's great.
it came, I always talk about we were the perfect storm. And I think, that really made a difference in our growth. But you further define those names, which I'll be going back and letting them know exactly who they are.
Tell us, who is your, when you started to market, who did you perceive as, and who is your ideal client? And how do you really get across what you are and how different you are? How do you market that?
Yeah, that's very challenging. People thought we were Orange Therapy. They thought they were a therapy program. They thought we were Orange Julius. They came in for a drink. Yeah, when you create a whole name, that's a whole nother thing. So, where the name came from is the theory. It's a 12 minutes of, epoch. And then we went with the color orange because it represents colors, vibrant, energy, that type of thing. So yeah, it was slow.
Could you please work on your energy a little bit for us? Do you have a hand for the energy coming out of this woman, ladies and gentlemen? She lives it. She lives it.
Okay. Ladies. I love it.
Boom. Oh, yes.
Yes. So, in the beginning, absolutely, it's something that we had to spend a lot of time in, building up who we were. So, what was very important is the words that. Even in the coaching of the workout, how that was described is very important. And those words of even how we describe the workout on the outside. Now, what that does is words creates actions. So then what happens is because of the words of how we were going to, coach people in the workout, which all levels can come. There's 3 categories, a walker category, jogger category, and runner category. So it doesn't matter how deconditioned you are, you could do the workout. We had a walker next to a triathlete the other day in class, and everyone's in the same class because of the categories.
Wow.
So words represent actions. Now, actions represent an attitude. So words, actions, attitude really is what we talked about, we thought about, we worked on. And what is an attitude? Well, you know that, Tony, because that's what you got. It's contagious.
Well, tell me, in the very beginning, it's interesting, you both talked about the power of words to help shape your culture. What were some of the words that describe Orange Therapy then, and are they the same today?
Yeah. So we're a science-backed, technology-track, coach-inspired workout. That's how we describe our workout. The science is what I just spoke to you about, EPOC. The technology is everyone's hooked into our own proprietary heart rate system. So you in real time know how your body is responding in that workout. You know if you're undertraining, overtraining, or you're spot on and you're going to slam those 12 minutes. Technology is very important today, and we realize that. So we've got things like our challenge trackers in our studio. So what is that? We have benchmarks because again, we like to measure things. So we're not interested in you just coming in, doing a workout, and it fading away 5 years from now. We're going to be around forever, and this is one of the reasons why, because we know how to progress your physical body. So that challenge tracker, you would do the 1 mile walk, jog, or run. And then you're going to do it a couple times that year. And you're going to see that you shave some time off of that, which means you've got a stronger heart, which means that you have a stronger physiology. I'm real excited about the new technology coming on board by the end of the year, which is called OT Connect. So you'll walk in a studio and the treadmill and the rower will recognize you. Welcome, Tony.
Yes.
And it has all your data within that
Awesome.
platform. And then it's going to collect that as well as what you did in that workout. And we have all kinds of exciting things we're going to do with that. The coach-inspired aspect and description of the workout is all the workouts are designed in a lab that I have here in Boca Raton at our corporate office. So we have a whole team that designs the workouts, tests them for heart rate response, then sends them to the over 1,000 studios we have open right now. So everyone on a given day is doing the same workout. So on Monday in Japan, because we're in Japan, they're doing the same. Well, I don't know if it lands on Monday though. I'd have to. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. So someone in California and someone in Oklahoma on Monday are doing the exact same workout that works out really well because they're connecting with each other. They're talking on social media. You know, sisters are comparing the same workout results, that type of thing. But when you talk about how do you get people to know who you are and what you are, you've been talking about it all week. It's totally about raving fans.
Yes. And what makes them such raving fans for Orange Theory?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? What is the unique selling proposition or experience that you're giving people that's so different? Because
I think our small footprint of about a 3,000, 3,500 square foot facility, it's really, bigger than that. Our studios allows our staff to really know everyone's name, know about your dog, know you're going on vacation.
Hospitality.
Really does that, which gyms have struggled to do because you've got 2,000 members or whatever the case may be. So these small communities, it's kind of back in the neighborhoods when we used to, have that camaraderie with our neighbors and so on. There's many people don't even know their neighbors who live next door. It's brought that back. And the sense of community is overwhelming. People, when we say raving fans, people have got tattoos, shave. The splat is our logo.
Yep.
They've shaved their heads with splats on it. I don't know, that's going out there. A really unbelievable story is 2 girls befriended themselves. I think it was in the Midwest, and one needed a kidney. And do you believe one donated her kidney to this other girl that she took class with because she was not a match with any relatives, anyone that she put out there. And this kind of stuff just blows me away of the kind of community and culture that's being created.
And how much is the role, talking to Danny, he really works hard to find the right nature for that job. It's got to be critical for you as well, or you wouldn't have been able to scale. Tell us, how do you make the selection of these instructors and the people within your organization?
Yeah, we really look for that kind of, I jokingly say that orange glint in the eye. And basically what that means is they really get who we are and they want to be a part of this movement.
It's mission.
We don't see that, we don't call ourselves a fitness company. What we call ourselves is a more life company, that we give people more life. We give you more effervescent, more energy, hopefully a few more years on at the end. That's how we see ourselves. So we're looking for people who want to commit themselves to work with other individuals, all different levels, all different sizes, and give them more life. We're real clear of what we're here to do.
What is your marketing strategy? Is it all word of mouth? Is it I don't know. I apologize. But what is your strategy? What's worked best for you in helping you to
Yeah,
grow?
it has been very organic, word of mouth. Many of our franchisees were members before they decided to buy a franchise. And they just, again, became raving fans and said, I got to get on this path. I need, to become a franchisee.
Yes.
So we built this whole, conglomerate of individuals from raving fans.
And tell us about two major challenges you faced in the business at some stage that maybe shook you up or shook your team up, and how'd you turn it around?
The first year of franchising, so there's myself and our two partners, franchising or duplicating any business, and Danny, you know this, is about people, the processes, and of course the program or the product. So we started franchising, and we didn't select the right people who would be partners with us as franchisees. They weren't the right individuals. And we didn't.
And how did you know that?
Yeah.
How did you know they were right?
Well, we only had a few open, and as we are going and looking for consistency in the product, and in a franchise, you can't start just selling random things.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, there's milkshakes and vitamins, and like, well, whose are these? It's like mine. Well, you can't do that.
Yes.
So that consistency is very, very important. And then the processes, we, started very, very small, and we didn't really have a lot of staff to put a lot of that together. The three of us started putting that together, and we realized, we have to find experts in each one of those areas so that so we stopped franchising.
You stopped.
We decided after a year, we're not going to take people's money. We're not going to do this.
Smart.
We're not going to just franchise to say, oh, we have 500 franchises. We want 500, 1,000 profitable franchises. That's what the three of us decided. And we said we'd be good if we had 30. We'd be excited if we had 30. We were very excited in the beginning. We said if we can hit 30 and they're profitable franchises, we'd be very, very excited. So that was challenging. We stopped and we said, let's reboot. Let's not take anyone's money until we really feel like we have a legit product here. And, that's what I'm so proud about the partners that I do have, that we were all on that same wavelength of taking care of doing the right thing.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense. Tell me another example. Because when people see you, they see a rocket ship. So it's really important for them to realize the rocket ships, have their starts and stops as well, and also to hear how you solved it.
Yeah, I think that, we're in the people business. So what's tough in growing pains in a company is when you start small, okay, and you've got certain people that are managing certain areas, and we're 8 years old. We have 1,100 studios. We have 450 studios in the works of, getting leases signed, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
We're in 23 different countries. The workout's done in 8 different languages. So that very quick growth in 8 years, you may have certain people heading certain areas or departments in your company that it's kind of outgrown who they are. And that's, I take it very much to heart with you people who have committed with us from the beginning in the company, and we try frantically to find the right seat on the bus for them.
Yes.
But sometimes it is not the one that they came in the beginning, and sometimes that's a little stressful.
How do you deal with that? Because you obviously are a people person.
Yeah.
Are you the one that does it, or someone else do it?
Well, it's, when we were small, it was more the manager, the partner who did that. But we're all very involved in the company. We try relentlessly to find the best seat in the bus for them.
Yes.
And we have individuals who are still with us who maybe shifted the seat one over or back and readjusted. And those that just resisted and was like, no, I could take this where it needs to go. We support them in every which way, but sometimes you have to change the seat.
What is your culture, and how do you keep that scaled across 1,500 centers almost now?
Yeah, the culture is really
And how do you define culture? I like your definition, if we may.
Well, I think for us, it really was it came from our small footprint and really making sure that it's funny when I hear you overextend, produce for the
Over-deliver.
member coming in. They're coming in for a fitness product and we're giving them all this individualized attention, all this technology. So, we have a lot of events that we pull together to keep the group very, very tight. Social media that are more like.
What kind of events?
So we have like a dry try. So it's a triathlon that's on dry land, what's in our studios.
Okay.
And then all the other studios, or everyone across all of the studios are doing it at the same time.
Okay.
So then everyone comes together and roots for each other and this type of thing. We have and it's coming up in about 4 weeks, an educational summit that it's very important for us to educate our coaches, our managers, our sales staff. Many times people, they want to make the best money they can, but you know what? They really appreciate you developing them.
Yes.
And that's become very important to us. And we actually created what we call Orange University. And it is a whole section of different training modules for individuals who stay with us to develop them. So you've got someone who's a college that comes in as a manager, and we want, if you're going to stay with us or not, we want to develop you.
That's great.
A coach who's working with individuals on the floor. Many of our coaches, us fitness people, we do fitness because we're artists. We're just passionate about working with people physically, but we want to keep growing them. So we have found that's been just huge for creating such a culture amongst our professionals that, wow, look what you get with this product.
And I've always found that to be true. There's only 3 types of motivation, I really believe. There's fear, which never lasts. You can see that in despots. They eventually get kicked out. Certainly happens in business as well as countries. There's the idea of incentives. Incentives are wonderful, but you can only incentivize so much and still have a margin. And if you only reward people for what they do, then pretty soon they don't even feel good about themselves because I'm doing it to get something, very much like the tip description that you gave, Danny. And then there's personal development. There's this sense of autonomy, the sense that I'm growing, I'm expanding, and that I found to be extraordinarily valuable. What won't you stand for? You have to hold a standard in the industry. Where do you say this person's got to go? Because many people, we've all heard the phrase, it's not the person you hire, it's the person you fail to fire that messes up your culture. What won't you tolerate? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, we're very clear in our job descriptions to everyone who works at our studios. Your sole role is to make people feel better about themselves using our product. So when they come in and use our fitness product, the ultimate goal is to make you, after a workout, after several workouts, to feel better about who you are from using our product.
And how do you do that? What are some of the ways you train people to do that?
We have personal touches that we really encourage our individuals to use. So when a member comes in for the workout for that day, our coaches on the floor want to make sure you've used their name. You really did great in increasing your base today. You've really find ways to compliment them.
Specifically, not generally.
The power of encouragement. You give them that. There's nothing more powerful than encouragement. So, by doing that, people do feel better about themselves. So what's not tolerated is when someone wants to come in just for a job. OrangeTheory Fitness is not your place of employment. That if you just are passing through and you just want to work and make a few bucks, and that's not, our employee. And it's very hard to sometimes assess that in the interview and in the beginning.
Yes.
They've got to get rolling, and then you realize, and you try to work with them. First off, this is what's going on, Tony. Let me help you.
It won't be me.
So why do I kind of know that? And then if it's not where the person really sits or feels, I've even done things that have said, not Tony, but Joe, I'll help you find something else. I will do whatever we got to do. Maybe this isn't a great fit, and I explain clearly why, but, let me see whatever I can do to help you. But I have to make sure there's a fit with everyone in those studios.
CrossFit became very popular, and a lot of people get injured in CrossFit. How do you differentiate yourself from CrossFit? You've obviously done a beautiful job of that. How do you do that?
Yeah. So again, I spoke about the science back, the heart rate response workout. We look at the other aspects of the workout being based on what I call usable strength, usable functional movements that we do, as opposed to absolute strength.
Yes.
So absolute
So
strength
what you're
is,
really going to use in your life as
right.
opposed, yes.
You know, absolute strength, I'm in the gym, let me see the heaviest I can bench press. That's not usable functional strength for most people.
Yes.
They want to age well. They want to fight cellular decline. They want to get down and up off the ground through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yep.
So we are very clear of what our form of fitness is. And we want you to be able to do it for a lot of years. We have 70 and 80-year-old members.
What is your greatest desire or promise for this organization of yours? What is it really delivering to people in your heart and your soul?
Oh, I got into this fitness over 43 years ago because I'm passionate about exercise. But the fact that, and we're going to have 1 million members soon, I don't even know what you feel like with the millions of people that you affect. But I know just thinking that there's 1 million members that I've affected with this workout, and they've got stronger hearts. And they've got cellular decline, and they're going to maybe age a little bit better, and they're more vibrant in their life. That alone, I'm done. Listen, it's great that the company is, rated at $1 billion company. I'm not going to say that isn't a great thing, but I'm going to tell you that is what I live for.
That's the same thing, Dan. Give her a hand for that, first of all. Incredible. Yes. Can I have you ask her one question before we go?
Yeah.
Before Danny has to go, he's got to catch his plane. He's been so wonderful. Danny, I'd like to know if there's a question you'd like to ask her, one or two, just real quick before you go.
I was just thinking we should really go into business together because we feed them and then you work it off. I think that's pretty good.
There you go.
But the spirit of
it's a vicious cycle.
The spirit of the endeavor is the same thing, which
Yes.
is that whatever you are feeling when you come into one of our places, I want to make sure you feel a little bit better when you leave. And that's exactly what you're doing.
And she's as lit up as you are about seeing people get the results from her product.
Yeah.
Same thing you talked about as well. What question would you have for her, Danny, if you might have one?
I would say, how have you had to reinvent your leadership style as you've grown?
Good question.
Mine personally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great question.
Well, interesting story. I'm going to give you real quick. When April came into me and told me about her husband, I actually looked up at April and I said, April, I know nothing about franchising. And she left. What a missed opportunity that could have been for me. And when I think back of why I didn't maybe believe that I could do big things. So I was a woman. So I didn't have a bunch of women mentors of big business. I was a single parent. So if I invested some money, who would support me if it didn't work?
Yes.
I was 54 years old when April came in to
How
ask
incredible is that?
to talk about. So don't people start thinking about retirement at that time? So when I think back about that, and thank God she came in a week later, and my brain was in a different place and rewired with believing. And I think this is a woman thing. And I do a lot of keynote speaking now to a lot of organizations and women organizations. They bring me in because it's very interesting that I didn't believe in my potential, even with everything I had. I got the same thing then that I had now. I didn't believe in my potential. I didn't believe maybe I deserved to have big things.
So how'd you do it
As
anyway?
a woman. And like I said, I think that second time she came in, I took some of that fear and doubt. And I said, I looked around at my small little studio that was very successful in what it's doing. And I said, you got to give this a shot. You got to give this a shot. So, there's a whole thing called neuroplasticity. I'm sure you're very aware of, where you rewire your brain.
Yes.
Because your brain might have got certain messages. I might have got certain messages growing up in the 50s and 60s as a woman, not seeing a lot of great women mentors in big business. I might have, so whatever the case may be, there was slightly rewiring going on that second week she came in. But I'll tell you what, after I started with this, I dug my heels in
once
and
you
believed
committed
in
it.
my potential.
Yeah.
And I believed I deserved it. And I used the mantra from that moment that I partnered with those two gentlemen to where I am today, which is, why not me?
That's awesome. Danny, let's get you out of here so you're not late. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Tony.
Let's have a hand for Danny. He has to take off. Give it up for Danny.
So nice.
Thank you, brother. Whoa, yes. Let's amplify a little bit about that. You know, there's such a movement worldwide now for women to really acknowledge their own power and strength and reclaim that. How do you look at the advantage of being a woman today in business?
It's so exciting for me because, again, I'm a woman with, in her 60s, and there's a lot going on with that thought process. So I love just working with other women, talking to other women, especially young girls who maybe have doubt, and just really encouraging them to give it a shot and to believe in yourself. And sometimes you have to find other individuals to assist in where your weaknesses and strengths are. Look, I didn't have all that experience in franchising and so forth. But luckily, I found partners that were very respectful of me, acknowledge what I do bring to the table as an artist, and it helped me grow tremendously.
And notice she got the artist, went and got what she needed, right? She got the manager leader, she got the entrepreneur, and scaled this thing up. Let's go for some questions from the audience. Yes, ma'am, right here in the red. Give her a hand. Give it up for her, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Hello? Is it on? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Hi, I'm sorry. Ellen, hi, my name is Claire. Tony, one thing you said, Tony, that brought me to this two-part question. If you're not really passionate about your business, find something else.
Yes.
Ellen! I was a former Curves owner, and thank you, Tony, for that. And I just want to know, curiously, why do you think that whole Curves franchise kind of took a dive after, I don't know, 5-10 years?
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about it, but I do think the program design is very, very important. So I know that was strictly for women, and I'm not sure if the programming changed much. We do a different workout every single day. You will not repeat the same workout. So even though everyone's doing the same workout across the country, it is a different workout based on endurance, strength, and power, which are certain physiological processes that I want to put in the body. So maybe I don't know all the detail of the programming, but maybe the programming.
maybe not enough, think of the 6 human needs, maybe not enough variety, not enough of a significant impact on the area of life that matters to you, rather than just doing exercise for exercise. Her focus, again, is on the pragmatic side of where's that strength going to show up in your life as well. And then there's culture. And you have to look at yourself. Did you own a Curves franchise?
I did, yes, on Long Island.
What was the culture? What happened to the culture? Where did it start? Where did it end up?
Well, I think, because I was a fitness instructor for a long time too. I have the energy of a crazy person, and I want more information about your franchise. But back to your question, I think, when I saw people start dropping out, Claire, I'm tired of going around in circles. I'm going to go wherever.
Circles
my energy
make
level
you feel
kind of went
significant,
down
does it?
too. Yeah, my energy levels kind of, started waning, and what do I do next?
Yes.
So I got into medical coding, which I love. It saved my life because I was about to be homeless, and medical coding saved my life. But I'm telling you, when you start these exercises, when I talk about fitness, that is my passion. I spoke to a few ladies here that, I just go nuts. I feel like I'm putting on my Superwoman cape, and that's how I felt in my aerobic room every night.
Sounds like you need to have a visit with the OrangeTheory. Give her a hand.
Definitely will.
How about this gentleman over here in the block? Yes.
Ellen, how are you? I've taken your class many times. I'm from Manhattan. So in Manhattan specifically, and I can't speak for the rest of the country, and I live on the Upper East Side, where you're not. You're on 37th Street, you're on the Upper West Side. On the Upper East Side, we have Soul, we have Rumble, we have Barry's. This other 305 opened last week. How do you compete with them? They're all saying the same thing. We're family, we're community, and how do you differentiate yourself? And they're all into the apparel, with their brand.
We don't compete. How we look at it is we only compete against ourselves. And my father was, a football coach, and I remember him hearing that mess over and over that he would tell his players, we don't get on that field and compete against anyone. You compete against your last best performance. That's what you're competing against. So that was kind of innately in me. So we're very much with that thought process. We want to know what everyone's doing. Quite frankly, I don't down any other forms of exercise. If people are moving and becoming more fit, that's why I got into this profession. Fabulously. All I can worry about is our product and continually improving it.
Very nice. Yes, right here. Give her a hand.
Firstly, Ellen, I hope I look as good as you when I'm your age. You look unbelievable. Firstly, I want to say I retired from the sport of triathlon after 25 years of swimming, biking, and running. My partner and I are both ex-world champion triathletes. We're walking down the street, 29th Street Mall in Boulder, and I said, let's get an orange juice. I want a smoothie.
There you go.
And we walked in and we saw this group of people and we're like, oh my God. And I was so sick of swimming, riding, and running. I said, I want to try this class. We signed up. I'm completely addicted. I've been to 2 classes this week, brought my friend here, and it brought 5 people in the last 2 days. I love it. Everyone needs to try it. So thank you for giving me something new and exciting.
Oh my God, and I did not plant you there.
No, you did not.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Give her a hand. One more. How about, yes, ma'am, in the white right there. Yes, give her a hand. Yes. No, in the back, ma'am. In the back, right there in the white with the gold. Back there, sir, back. She's standing. No, you just walked by her. Sir, right there in the white with, right there.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I love your story. I love OTF. And my 2 questions. Number one is, what was your biggest challenge getting so successful so soon? And second, can you brag a little and tell us what things you're doing now that are different with your money and success?
Wow. We're digging now. The challenges, I think when we talked about the challenges, you mean personally or with, the company? I know.
She means that when you succeeded so much, where there are challenges, when so much success came so quickly.
It may be because it came to me later that authentically I am who I am. And I've been it a lot of decades, so it's not going to change in 8 years.
That's right.
So I think that, I'm not any different from that. Is it nice to have, definitely the success financially? I had my first grandchild 10 months ago, so I am unbelievably excited about that. I definitely have a lot of notes from Tony's investment lecture yesterday of where all my pockets should go, but I'm getting a lot of advice on that as well. Not a lot has changed. Listen, do you have a few things here and there? I took all of my family. I've got 2 brothers and a sister and my son and his wife, and I took them all to Italy a year ago, and that made my heart swell because my family were Italian. We're from Italy. We had not been there, so to bring all my family there was just the best thing that I could spend anything on.
So once again, what we talked about yesterday, experiences with those you love, right? Much greater reward. But also notice, she's driven by mission, not by economics. The most successful human beings usually are driven by mission. Because in the beginning of a business, there isn't a lot of reward except emotional and psychological and spiritual. So if you're just doing it for the money, most people drop out. But You could still do it for the money if you're going to run a successful business. She's certainly done that, but her nature has not changed. She just found a way to stay an artist and be supported by the other people that can look at those elements. That's the genius. But also look who this woman is. She is the product. She lives the product. You know, you don't have to wonder. You feel her energy. The greatest marketing she has is the way she walks in a room, isn't it? Pretty beautiful. Give her a hand.
Aw.
One more.
Thank you, guys.
One more.
Good.
Yes, over here. Give her a hand.
You go first.
I just want to say, Ellen still teaches Pilates class, and I take it every week. And every chance I am around this woman, she's made my whole entire life change and grow. And I apologize for stealing a question, because I've been here all week as well, and I've learned so much. I don't really have a great question, other than to say that I've not seen any change as far as who she is.
Yes.
And her generosity is just, it oozes from her.
You can feel it. Beautiful. Give
We
her a
love
hand.
you, Ellen, so much.
Give her a hand. One last question, if there's a question. Yes, ma'am. Give her a hand.
Wow.
I visualized you picking me for this last question, by the way, and it worked. So I started a restaurant. It's 100% organic, plant-based, and I started 5 years ago. We now have 7 locations and franchised. And we use our restaurant as an education tool to teach people how to get off their medications, reverse their cancer and chronic disease. We have thousands of case studies and results. So my biggest thing is we just hired a consultant who said we should change the name of our company and our brand. And with the Orange Theory, I wouldn't associate that to a gym. We're called the Green Mustache, which, thank you. And I just don't know how seriously to take that, that we should consider rebranding, and how do you make that decision to do so, and why? And were you ever told not to do that or to do that?
Well, sure, people, again, had no idea what Orange Theory was. And, you know, listen, if this is your business and in your gut, that's the name you came up with and that's the name you love, you're going to ride that baby just where it should be ridden.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you stay here, if you will, for the next one. Is that okay? Let's give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen, for Ellen.
Thank you. Thank you.